What happened to Fall Guys? To answer this question, we have to go back. Fall Guys was announced at E3 2019 as this colorful party game that everyone can have fun with. The game didn't get much traction at first, but that would all change with its actual release on August 4, 2020, when all of us were having fun battling out in the water in Fortnite in the middle of a pandemic and didn't really have anything better than that to do. Fall Guys would be released to the public. And it became extremely popular. Everyone knew about Fall Guys, and a part of the reason for that was the fact that the game was available to PS Plus users for a month for completely free, and also because some of the biggest streamers started playing the game as well. At launch, the game was an undeniable success, but the game's huge success was also its downfall. From day one, people were experiencing a lot, and I mean a lot of server issues. Some people were struggling to even find one game, but even after the server issues were resolved, people started realizing that, well, the game's launch only had 25 rounds. That might sound like a lot, but it wasn't. People already started getting bored of the game just a bit after a month of its launch, but that's when another game would overtake Fall Guys' popularity altogether. You already know what game I'm talking about. That's right, the SAS one. People quickly found another game that was also a fun party game to play with friends, but it also had something that Fall Guys needed from the start: the ability for streamers to play with their viewers. When streamers realized this, most of them abandoned Fall Guys and decided to start streaming Among Us instead. The game allowed them not only to be able to play with their viewers, but also more of their friends as well, since Among Us allowed up to 10 players in the same lobby, as opposed to Fall Guys is 4 people. Fall Guys isn't out of the game though yet. With Season 2 right around the corner, they've got the chance to completely revive the game, right? Well, yes, but they didn't quite do that. Season 2 launched with just 4 rounds. Yes, only 4. 2 of which were recreations of already existing rounds. That disappointed many people as Mediatonic had been hyping the season up for some time now. In future seasons, a lot of the features that the community requested, like custom lobbies, were added and a lot of problems were fixed. I'm not going to get into all the details regarding every season as it's not important for the purposes of this video. However, what I'm going to talk about now is Season 6, which started on November 30th, 2021. This season brought many new features, including cross-platform parties and cross-progression, and the return of custom usernames for PC players. Epic accounts were now required to even play Fall Guys. Season 6, while it included a lot of bug fixes and additions, it was over 7 months long. It was released in November 2021 and ended on late June 2022. However, this season after that was a special one. A really special one. Welcome to Season 1 Free-for-All. We already had rumors of Mediatonic doing an entire revamp of Fall Guys, and that was later confirmed on May 16, 2022, with the big announcement stream, in which they confirmed Fall Guys was finally becoming free to play on all platforms, including PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and on the Epic Games Store for PC. And when the season finally launched over a month later, it was a monumental success. The game had 50 million new players in just 2 weeks. Even the developers were mind blown. It looked like that was it, the return of Fall Guys. And for the first few months, it actually was. Everyone was playing Fall Guys again in the summer, and Among Us had already seen a decline in popularity by that point, so it looked like the perfect time to start playing Fall Guys again. All of us were having fun, especially since the game had way more round variety by that point, and Fall Guys was doing weekly events as well. Everything was perfect. Until Season 2 Satellite Scramble. When this season launched on September 15, 2022, the game was still popular and the season was hyped into oblivion by Mediatonic, even sending a literal beam into space, emphasizing the season's theme, which was obviously space. The launch of the season looked perfect and everyone was excited to try out the 8 new rounds, not to mention the 62 new variations they added to already existing rounds. That season was packed. Just a few days after the season launch, however, people started realizing something. In maps that had low gravity zones such as Space Race and the Slime Scraper, sometimes the screen on the Nintendo Switch would just start flickering, displaying black and white colors repeatedly. The bug was immediately brought into Mediatonic's attention and some of the rounds were removed from the game, which, by their words, was just a temporary fix until the actual fix comes out in a future update. So people didn't really think much of it. Now, it did make sense why they didn't just wait to release the update instead of removing the rounds immediately. This wasn't just a bug, it was a health risk for some people, which could cause serious problems to people with epilepsy, so it was understandable and it was the actually correct way of handling a serious problem like this. So good job to them for that. Not so fun fact and a small spoiler, that actually led to Space Race being the map that was in the game for the least amount of time, literally just a bit less than 2 weeks, never to be seen again in public match. In the meantime, something else would happen. The removal of even more maps, this time for performance issues. Skyline Stumble, Cosmic Highway, Full Tilt, and Volleyball were just a few of the rounds that were a victim of the apparent performance issues. You think it can't get any worse in terms of the round variety? Well, think again, because let me introduce you to the sound of the future, aka as people call it, the Miku event. For the duration of this event, Mediatonic thought it would be a cool idea to literally only keep 20 maps in the game. That's actually less than the game initially launched with back in 2020. And the community was understandably pissed, even getting hashtag #SaveFallGuys trending on Twitter. That leads us to the season that's considered by most people as the worst season ever in Fall Guys. Season 3 Sunken Secrets, which was released on November 22nd, 2023. However, a few days before the season released, Mediatonic heard our complaints and decided to tell us how they will try to improve their testing capabilities. How? Through the introduction of something they refer to as vaulting. Vaulting was and still is a way of apparently keeping as many bugs out of the game as possible. However, many people still thought that the way vaulting was handled was really poor. First of all, Mediatonic was excited about the fact that Season 3 was gonna have 40 plus rounds, which, while true, was not a reason to be excited. Even 2 seasons ago in Season 1 Free For All, we had way more rounds than 40. Season 3, while it was fun for the first 2 weeks, became instantly just boring to play, and what didn't help either was that a few months later, they announced that seasons will be getting longer and that vaulting would continue to be a thing, which wouldn't have been a problem if it was actually handled correctly. The season was so bad in fact that people got hashtag #UnvaultFallGuys trending on Twitter as well. That's 2 different consecutive trending hashtags in 2 consecutive seasons. It was not looking good for Fall Guys at all, and the game's popularity was at a huge decline once again. However, a new feature that was already announced in the Free For All announcement stream was finally coming, Creative, aka the level editor. That was a feature that we had been waiting for over a year now, and it was Mediatonic's chance to bring back players to Fall Guys once again. On May 10th, Season 4 Creative Construction was released, and with it, the Create. But not only that, they promised 50 entirely new rounds in Season 4. At launch, Creative was pretty bare bones, but it was still pretty fun making your own round. Creative would improve over time with new features and obstacles, and we would get new rounds every week. Them being creative rounds, they were not as unique or fun as the old Unity rounds, but it was still exciting getting new rounds to play by Mediatonic every week. Until they stopped. Suddenly, they just stopped releasing new creator round playlists and instead started pushing out some rounds made by the community, which was pretty nice and a lot of those rounds are incredible. But we didn't have any new rounds from Mediatonic for quite some time, which leads us to today. Currently, we're in season... well, we're not actually in a season. That's because Mediatonic recently announced that going forward, they're moving away from seasons to instead deliver monthly updates for the game, which in my opinion is a step in the right direction. We even got a roadmap for new features that are coming in the near future, and it's also nice to see how they've been improving their communication, since lack of communication was also a big part of the game's problem. The game might not be in the best state currently, but I'm really excited for the future. With a mobile release being teased and a ranked mode being rumored, it looks like Mediatonic can still revive this game. But it will take time. They just need to listen to what the community has been asking for. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop a like and a subscribe if you did, as I've been working on this one for over a week, so it would really mean a lot.